Ron knows stuff here. Still trying to figure out how my GoPro works. So you can see the little microphone there, but apparently I plugged it into the wrong jack, so it's not quite working. But along with me is Mrs. Ron Knows Stuff
Hi.
and Coco. Woof woof. So today's project is on our walkout basement. We put French doors in, but we need a landing pad. So when you walk outside, you don't walk into
Dirt.
dirt. So you can kind of see that board there. That's where I'm thinking the size of the uh, concrete pad should be.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to clean out that area and going to
Frame it in.
frame it in, form it up so that we can do a concrete pad there.
Sounds great.
Well, but the neat thing is we are going to do a dry pour.
Yes.
So this is,
Our first time ever to do this.
yeah, we've seen it on the internet and, it looks a lot easier than mixing concrete, pouring it in. And this is going to take about 12 and a half bags. So I just didn't feel like mixing up 12 and a half bags of Quikrete to form this out.
Even though I do have a wheelbarrow now.
You do have a wheelbarrow, which we still have yet to use it. So what I'm doing is I'm forming it out and I'm putting a slope in there so that the water will not stand.
So kind of run off away from the door.
Right. And it's a subtle slope so that it won't be so dramatic that you'll feel it when you walk on it. But when water hits it, it'll roll off. And then you see Coco the Wonder Corgi come in to inspect my work.
The perfect corgi.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart and a half. So here I am getting my boards in place and
And what size boards did you use?
just 2x4s, and I think those were
Okay.
3 foot. And then took my level and measured everything out. Now I put a piece of reinforcement in the middle, but first I'm breaking open the bags of Quikrete, and I'm gonna just do a quick little layer on the bottom. You definitely want to wear gloves and have some sort of mask on because you do not want to get concrete dust in your lungs. It's
Yeah.
nasty. So once I do a few bags, I will put the wire mesh in there to give it some extra strength. So the idea of of dry pour is you just put it in place and then you start wetting it down
In stages
in stages. Yeah,
with a certain technique.
right. So here I'm getting it wet, and now I'm gonna put, or not wet, but I got a base. Now I'm gonna put the wire mesh in the middle there for stability.
But we recycled some fence
Yeah.
that we had for our reinforcement.
Yep. So
And you
this
want to make sure it doesn't go out to the edges so that way it's not sticking through the concrete and getting rusted and stuff.
exactly. So I am doing about, what did I say, 12 and a half bags, I think it was. I bought 14 and I ended up using 12 and a half. So if anybody needs any Quikrete, I got a couple of bags ready to go. And you just simply just smooth it out. That's what they tell you to do. And the more you put out, um, the more you just keep smoothing it out. Now, these bags are, what were they, 60-pound
I
bags?
think so.
Yeah, those things are heavy.
He said
And
they were very heavy.
they felt like a heavy 60 pounds. But I used the hoe to pull them from deeper in the bed to the edge of the
To
bed.
level it out a little better.
Yeah, and then I used the hoe to level it out and get a nice little um, work area going. So as far as the the process of doing dry pour, man, it's so much easier.
Yeah, you just have to time things for the schedule of putting water on it
Yeah,
and letting it settle
yeah,
and set.
yeah. And I'll tell you that it's concrete's a lot of work. It just is. And if you don't rent a mixer, um,
This
boy,
is a
oh,
good way to do it.
yeah.
especially for what we were doing.
Right. So now I'm gonna screed it with the board, and there's Mrs. Ron knows stuff. She's gonna help me, and Coco's gonna help her. Look at her.
I know, she's so cute. She doesn't get in the way at all with these projects.
And I was quite surprised that she didn't want to walk in it.
Yeah.
So we don't have any dog prints in our finished product, which was too bad. So when you're doing this, it is quickcrete and there's rocks in there. So sometimes you get rocks showing, but they tell you to use a paintbrush, a paint roller rather, to
And that's
smooth it.
what you're doing.
You're right, to smooth it out and get a nice finish on the top. And that seemed to work pretty well. There I am using a board on the corners so that I can get in a little deeper and just smooth everything out nice and easy. And I'll tell you, it doesn't look too bad, really. Is it as good as a wet pour to finish? Honestly, I don't think so.
No, but nobody's gonna slip on it, so that turned out okay. It
Yeah,
doesn't, but, it's
it serves its purpose and it's good enough.
and he bought this little tool, or you bought this little tool to kinda round the edges. So we tried that. That didn't work real well for us, but we tried it.
No, and I've seen others do it where it's worked much better. But honestly, if you don't like the end result, you can take like a gosh, a brick or something like that, and just rub it along the edges to knock off that sharp edge if you want. But it actually doesn't look bad.
Yeah, and you're still rolling
Yeah, I'm trying to get a nice smooth surface here. I've seen others where they put
a
more,
design and stuff on it, but
yeah, or they'll use more mortar on the top, but I don't think that's the right thing. So the first thing you do is you mist it.
and that looks like it's a heavy spray, but it's really misting.
Yeah, and because sped it up, it kind of shows it, but you missed it for an hour, or you
You
missed
mist
it.
it and you let it sit
What?
for an hour.
Right, and then you come back and mist it again for another hour.
And misting where there's no puddles, you're just making sure the surface is wet.
Right, and then after 2 hours, so you've done two mistings, you wait 2 hours, and then you soak it in. And that's what I'm doing right here. You soak it in, and you soak it like that once an hour, uh, depending on how many inches. So if you have 3 inches, you're going to soak it at least like 6 times
Right.
every hour. So that's kind of what it looks like.
And then you're supposed to let it set for at least 24 hours before you take your framing off.
Right. And that's 24 hours after the last spray. And you can see it really doesn't look bad. It still looks wet. So why don't I drop in a video and show you what it looks like dry?
That sounds great.
All right, so I'm going to do that right here, and then you can see how dry it looks. And honestly, it doesn't look bad. So would you do it again?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
worked out well.
yeah, I think I would do it again. Is the product as silky smooth as a wet pour? I don't think
It
so.
wasn't for us.
No, but with practice, I think it'll do better. But I'm telling you, this is pretty hard, and you'll really like the outcome of it. So, unless you're trying to win some awards for the smoothest concrete in the world, this will work just fine for you.
And people
So,
use this to do, like a little shed or chicken coops. We've seen it for, a bigger area for a nice huge shed. So,
yeah,
this was our first attempt and we did something small on purpose as a project.
yep,
But it turned out perfectly for us.
yes. So, hey, thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and share.